Increasing input costs are putting pressure on businesses everywhere. Chemical, fertiliser and fuel costs are all increasing. Higher costs and declining profits are hitting farmers throughout Australia. Australian agriculture is noting increasing concerns of dry land salinity, poor soil structure, weed invasion and the rising saline water table. Farmers have been hit hard by drought and are facing the very real threat of climate change. Farmers are under more pressure than ever to develop farm practices that will provide both financial and environmental security. Several producers in northeast Victoria are trialling a sustainable land management system called pasture cropping and are excited about the results.
Well, on this particular paddock we had abused it. We had overstocked it, and because of the seasons we put just too many stock on here, and we finished up with a problem of capeweed, onion weed, flatweed, and that was about all that was growing here. So luckily we met Colin Sesi and went on a 2-day course with him, and we got very interested in the pasture cropping idea. And it seemed like by planting cereals you could put sugar into the soil and regenerate the biology that was there. And so we hastily bought some seed and tried it in the March, planted in the dry, and we had a terrific result the first year. We were so pleased with it.
Irene, due to the dry years and the ongoing drought, our paddocks have been getting too bare, and we come up with the thought of growing more cereals during the winter, both for feed and then create ground cover. I attended a day with Colin Sesi and liked the idea and the theory of what he was saying. So when we converted our combine for direct drilling, we made it 30 centimetre spacings, and the whole idea then of being able to direct drill, it was cheaper, only one pass cropping, and we could cover a greater area for the same amount of dollars.
When I first heard about pasture cropping, it certainly pricked up my interest straight away, because I was becoming increasingly concerned about the way we are heading, and ourselves were heading, with particularly the cropping side of things, with the use of more and more artificial inputs, and these inputs were becoming more and more expensive. And particularly as the seasons have become more and more uncertain over the last 10 years, the scary scenario with cropping is all the costs are up front. You're outlaying those costs anything up to 12 months before you get a return on them. What was happening with the impetus, well, I guess you listen to agronomic advice, and when you're involved with cropping groups or whatever, you get this peer pressure to be growing these magnificent crops and bombing out everything that looks like any sort of a threat at all to the crop, and going for maximum yield rather than maximum profit. Pasture cropping, I guess, just became another adjunct to a lot of what we were already trying to do.
Now, the idea of pasture cropping, as I see it, is to create better soils, and if growing something like lab or any green plant through the summertime, if that's all part of pasture cropping as I see it, and it will help to enhance the soil, keeps all the microbes alive, keeps a good environment for perennial plants.
Pasture cropping is a technique of sowing annual cereal crops into living perennial pastures and having these crops grow symbiotically with existing pastures. Cropping and grazing are combined into a single technique, and each enterprise enhances the other both economically and environmentally. Colin Sesi, one of the pioneers of pasture cropping in Australia, started using this farming technique in 1993 on his property Winona near Gulgong in New South Wales. How did you start there, and what changes have you made over the years?
Yep. Started in 1992. I developed the pasture cropping principles in 1992. The main reason was things were starting to crash on us financially and ecologically, and it was a need-driven thing. And started looking at that stage, and when I was developing pasture cropping, of just simply sowing oats, zero-tilling oats into mainly red grass, which is summer-growing grass. And those early days, that worked really well. Many benefits from it, not just getting a good crop yield, but one of the many benefits is also stimulating perennial grasses to grow. And it's used a lot now to restore grasslands to great diversity. The other many things that we've found it does is help soil ecology and improve soil health, improving soil microbe numbers and diversity. So it seems to go on in relation to what the benefits, and those benefits I had no idea of when we first started.
The main principles of pasture cropping are zero-tilling crops into perennial pastures, aims for 100% ground cover 100% of the time, never ploughing, strategic use of chemicals, never killing perennials. Perennial pastures can be introduced or native. Pasture cropping has been taken up by thousands of producers throughout Australia, as well as in the United States and Scandinavia.